I'm Morgan. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, thanks for joining me, and thank you for supporting me. And if you are new here, same thing. Really means a lot to me. So I figure for you to get to know me as a reader, then you should know what my 5-star books are. What's in a book that makes me give it 5 stars, what I've read and loved, what I've annotated. So that's what I'm here to discuss. Okay, let's do it. I'm going to start with the obvious ones, which is, and you know, I hate to say it, I do. These are my favorite books. I'm so sorry. It's the Off the Game series by Nora Sakovic. These are my favorite books of all time. Are these books objectively good? No. Are they filled with harmful content? Yes. Do I love them anyway? Absolutely, 100%. Am I getting a tattoo for these books? Yes. If you don't know what Off the Game is about, we have our main character, Neil, whose father is a serial killer, and he has been on the run from his father for, I want to say, 10 years. And one day he is approached by a college coach of a fictional sport named Exy, which is basically lacrosse, but like more violent. And he's like, hey, do you want to come play on our team that gets national news coverage? And he's like, yeah, sure. Why not? And we go from there. This book has sports. This book has found family. This book has crime, murder, the Japanese mafia, drugs, and it's amazing. Andrew Maynard, if you're out there, I love you. These are my old beat up copies that I've had for like 6 years, and these are the copies that I've annotated. My annotations in these are a little bit like lackluster, not gonna lie. But I also want to show you, oh my god, I have another set of copies of the books, and I have these absolutely gorgeous dust jackets for them. This is the one for the Foxhole Court, and it has Andrew on the back, my bestie. Here is the Raven King one with Neil and Andrew on the front, and we've got Rico, who is the antagonist, on the back. Absolutely so beautiful. Here's the one for the Kingsmen that has the whole team on it. We've got this on the back. It is just so gorgeous. I'm obsessed with them. I'm going to leave the link to these in the description, and I'm also going to leave a link for a list of trigger warnings for the series in the description. These are my favorite books of all time. I love them to pieces. I really don't recommend them unless you are completely unaffected by triggers, because these books are just chock full of them. So I will leave the trigger warning list in the description just in case. But yeah. Anyway, what does this say about me as a person? These are my favorite books. I've read them all like 5 times. Like, I am sick in the absolute head. Speaking of being sick in the absolute head, my next set of 5-star books. Yeah, this is The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. I literally read these like directly after I read Off the Game for the first time. They're simply fantastic. I don't know what else to say. Also receiving 5 stars from me is Call Down the Hawk and Mr. Impossible, which are also by Maggie Stiefvater, and they are the sequel, or not the sequel, the spin-off series to The Raven Cycle. So The Raven Cycle is about our main group of characters called the Raven Boys, and Blue. Blue, I don't even know how to really explain the plot of these books. Here are the key factors. Blue is cursed, so if she kisses her true love, he will die. Gansey is hunting for a dead Welsh king to grant a wish. He's like hyper fixated on it. I really don't know what else to say about these books. It's just filled with magic and found family and plants in Virginia and bees. They're just so magical. They really are. Before you ask, my favorite Raven Boy is Noah. I love you, Noah Sherney. And then these 2 books, they're the first 2 books in the Dreamer trilogy, which is a spin-off of the Raven cycle. And these books are about Ronan Lynch, who is one of the Raven boys and Gansy's best friend. And Ronan Lynch has this really cool, I don't want to say superpower, but he has this ability that sort of gets him in trouble sometimes. Sometimes he's could maybe be an eco-terrorist. Girl boss, question mark? The way that this book has the worst title and the ugliest cover and fully broke me in fucking half. I'm not even gonna lie. When I finished this book, I was a wreck for like 2.5 days. It was horrendous. Also, really cool thing about this book, it's personalized for me because I pre-ordered it. And my copy of Called on the Hawk is not personalized, but it is drawn in. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I love these books. I do actively still think about these books every single day, even though it has been 5 years since I read them for the first time. And the bee tattooed on my ankle is named Gansy. Do with that what you will. Guys, look, this is going to expose really like who I am as a person. I'm so sorry. You guys are all going to be like, oh my God, this bitch is living in 2016. And maybe I am. Maybe I am. Okay, what's so bad about that? Yeah, you know these books. You know them. Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. The Six of Crows duology. They're fantastic. They really are. These are high fantasy books that take place in the Grishaverse. If you've read Shadow and Bone or if you've seen the TV show, same world. These books are about 6 criminals, teenagers, going on a heist and then being criminals. I don't know. My favorite crow, Nina. Sorry. Essentially, in the first book, our main characters are recruited to go on a heist. And this book is all about the planning of the heist, the executing of the heist, the aftermath of the heist. And this book is about the aftermath of the heist. And one thing I will say about this book, all of the best parts of this book are concentrated into like 150 pages, like right near the end. My favorite scenes in this book are all right one after the other at the end. Apparently I didn't annotate Crooked Kingdom. I thought I did, but I annotated the hell out of this, so maybe I just had given up. Also, when I finished this book, I was on a road trip. I was literally in the car trying to annotate it, so for the second time, when I finished this book for the second time. It will confuse you at first because the first chapter, you're like, what in the actual fuck is happening? And then in the second chapter, we start getting into plot. You don't need to have read Shadow and Bone to enjoy these. I read Shadow and Bone like 3 years after I read these for the first time, so I promise. And these are better than Shadow and Bone. Simply they are. None of the books from the Shadow and Bone series are going to make an appearance on this list. These are fantastic. Now that we've gotten the 2016 fucking YA Holy Trinity out of the way, what goddamn year am I living in? These are my favorite books. They are. Let's talk about my favorite novel. I can absolutely not say enough good things about this book. This really is my favorite book. Like, my favorite standalone novel. Like, when people ask me what my favorite book is, I say, all right, I have a favorite series, which is All for the Game. And I have a favorite novel, which is I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. I have the old version where the cover is like this quote, but this is what the actual cover looks like. The way I absolutely adore this book, it's like ingrained permanently in my mind. And I never see people talk about this book, and it's really a damn shame because it's simply amazing. So this book is about 2 twins. Their names are Noah and Jude, and they're both artists. And this book is told from both of their point of views, but their point of views are 3 years apart. So as you read from both of their perspectives, you kind of put together pieces of the story, like a little bit at a time. And it is just so beautiful. Like, it's such an experience to read. It's absolutely amazing. I really don't have enough good things to say about this book. It's beautiful. It's filled with art. It's heartbreaking. It's romantic. It is simply just wonderful. I read this book There were so many books that I read in freshman year on this list. Freshman year of high school, might I add. I really don't want to say too much about this book because I really do think that going in, having like no knowledge of what's happening is the best way to read it, because it really is just so gorgeous. Maybe I'll get some of the book talk picks out of the way, but I will say I got these recommendations from book Twitter. I was on book Twitter before you were all even thinking about book talk. First, I really don't think I need to say much of anything about this book. We all know this book. All of the hype for this book is completely well-deserved. It is fully so good. It is a retelling of the Iliad. It focuses on Achilles and Patroclus and their relationship. Fully just heartbreaking and absolutely amazing. I've read this twice. It is beat the fuck up. Okay. Look, you all know this book. This is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey Mcquiston. It is amazing. This is another book that I think deserves all of the hype it gets. It is just fully awesome. Probably the funniest rom-com I have ever read. I love the way that Casey Mcquiston writes. Spoiler alert. I also gave her other book, One Last Stop, 5 stars. And I'm sure I Kiss Cheryl Wheeler will also get 5 stars. Casey, if you're out there, please give me an arc. Thank you. Both of these books got 5 stars from me. They're both rom-coms. They're both amazing. I'm talking about Red, White, and Royal Blue right now, though. So, if you somehow don't know what this book is about, it is about the first son of the United States and his relationship with the Prince of England. They sort of get themselves into, like, an international scandal while they're rivals, and then they have to, like, pretend to be friends, and then they fall in love. And it really is just as good as it sounds. Like, this book is simply amazing. Well, I guess I'll talk about One Last Stop since I already kind of started talking about it. This is Casey Mcquiston's second novel, One Last Stop. It is about August and Jane. Jane is from the 70s and has been stuck on the queue line of the subway for 30 years. 40 years, maybe 50 years. August starts taking the queue line, moves to New York, starts taking the queue line, meets Jane. Guess what? They fall in love. But she's also actively trying to get Jane unstuck. Because she's from the 70s. She, like, belongs in the 70s, you know? What earned this book its 5 stars is the supporting cast. The side characters in this book are fully all fantastic. Wes, me, and Wes, same person. Same person. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Absolutely so good. The title is such a straight bait. This book is queer. This book is not straight. I did not know that when I read it. So that was a really fun realization for me. So this book is about the fictional movie star Evelyn Hugo. She recruits this journalist that no one knows about to write her memoir. And so basically, most of this book is told from Evelyn's point of view. Some of it is told from the journalist's point of view. But it is just basically Evelyn's life told through her 7 husbands that she married. And just absolutely beautiful. Heart-wrenching. When I got to the end of this book, I was literally sitting on my couch, like, for like 20 minutes. Like, I'm not even lying. So good. Look, you will notice about me. I tend to give entire series 5 stars. I really don't like separating them. There is one notable exception. But my next 5 star is the Heartstopper graphic novels. These are just so amazing to read. They're so fun. They're absolutely adorable. They're just a lovely thing to read. They're so cute. Heartstopper is a graphic novel series. A graphic novel series about our main characters, Nick and Charlie, and their friendship / relationship / the whole supporting cast of characters. So good. So adorable. So quick. If you want to maybe get back into reading, or if you love romance, these are a great thing to pick up. You can also read it for free online. Oh, and it's going to be a Netflix series. It is going to be on Netflix. Let's go for a more obscure pick. This book is The Strange Fascinations of Noah Hypnotic by David Arnold. Essentially what happens is one day Noah, our main character, wakes up and everything in his life has changed in like minute ways. And everyone is like, what is your problem? Like these things that you thought were true were never true. And he's like, no, I know they were true. And the only things that have stayed completely true, completely unaltered, are his strange fascinations. So through this book, he basically attempts to go find out everything he can about his strange fascinations. And that's the book. And I absolutely loved it. 5 stars. Fully fantastic. If your book has a character named Noah in it, 5 stars. Unless it's the Bible. Sorry. Look, these are going to be controversial, but I did give both King of Scars and Rule of Wolves 5 stars. This is another spin-off series in the Grishaverse. I just love Nikolai. I fully just love him. I do. I don't know what else to say. I love Nikolai. Let's move on. Daisy Jones and the Six. This is about a fictional band from the 70s, and it is told in a really interesting format because it's told in like interview format. So this is what it looks like, and the characters all sort of give interviews. It's so good. It's so enjoyable. Especially me. I'm a giant music nerd. I go to school for music business. Absolutely adored this book. It's drama, it's romance, it's just music. If you love music, I love books about music, so if you have any recommendations for that, please let me know. Yeah, this book and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo are both amazing and deserve all the hype they get. Let's talk about Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. Absolutely so beautiful. I can't believe this is a debut. This book is about Grace. She finishes her PhD. She keeps like not getting hired. She has no idea what she's doing for her life. So she goes to Las Vegas and she marries a stranger. There's some beautiful lines in here. I do have them tabbed here. Let's just read one. Blooming flowers wind around her forearms like ivy around an old haunted house. She has one behind her ear too, a small cluster of petals that reminds Grace of the first signs of life after winter. Little buds peeking through thawing dirt and melting snow. Absolutely so gorgeous. Absolutely so beautiful. There's so much imagery like that in here. Like pink and flowers and champagne. Just so good. Really great coming of age book as well. Just absolutely fantastic. Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. Oh, this book is so good. Oh, also, I just want to shout out this. This cover is so gorgeous. This is so beautiful. When I took the dust jacket off the first time and saw that, I gasped. This is so beautiful. This book is about our main character. His name is Yadriel. Yadriel is a Brujo. He's attempting to prove to his family that he can be a Brujo because he is trans, and they all think of him still as, like, not the gender he is. And essentially, in an attempt to prove this to his family, he attempts to summon the ghost of his mother and instead summons the wrong ghost. And he summons the ghost of Julian. And we go on from there. And it's absolutely fantastic. I love this book so much. So absolutely so good. Guys, listen. Here's the deal. I will absolutely devour anything V.E. Schwab releases. This includes Vicious and Vengeful. These books are absolutely amazing. Vicious is the first book in this duology, soon to be trilogy. I hear V.E. Schwab is writing a 3rd book, but it's going to take a while to come out. This book is friends to enemies. They get superpowers and then they hate each other and they like try to actively kill each other. But Victor, who's the main character of this book, can't die. And Eli can't really die either. So it's just absolutely so fantastic. I loved reading about how their friendship turns sour so quick. And then Vengeful is the sequel to this, and there's another character introduced who is just so evil and such a girl boss. These books are just so fantastic. And then I do want to talk about the Shades of Magic series, also by V.E. Schwab. This is an exception to my rule about series pretty much always getting 5 stars, because the only book in this series that got 5 stars is A Gathering of Shadows, but the rest of them got like 4.5. The other 2 got 4.5. The reason this one has 5 is because this one has, first of all, the appearance of Alucard, who's my favorite character. And second of all, this book has a magic competition, like a tournament for magic in it. Absolutely so amazing. I eat that shit up with a spoon, bitch. So, so good. This series is a high fantasy series. Really sounds complicated to explain, but essentially there are 3 different Londons. One is full of magic, one has like a little bit of magic, and one has no magic. And there are only a few people, and by a few I mean like 2 people, who can travel back and forth between the Londons using magic. They're super powerful. And it's amazing. The first book does kind of have a completely different plot from the other 2 books. But yeah, the second one is my absolute favorite. It is so, so good. I do have 3 more. One is actually an arc. It has not come out yet, and that is Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kelly. I'll put it up here. This book comes out in January, and it is a romance. It is set on the set of a competitive, obviously it's competitive, a reality cooking competition show. And it is just so amazing. The chemistry is amazing. It is funny. The characters are well developed by themselves before they enter a relationship. And also, if I do say so myself, the spice is immaculate. Very, very good. In my humble opinion. Does this book actually deserve 5 stars? No, but I gave it 5 stars anyway. So sorry. I want to personally apologize to Nate for giving this book 5 stars. Ari and Dante, as well as the sequel to Ari and Dante, both got 5 stars from me because they are so beautiful. They just are. When I was rereading this book recently to prepare for the sequel, I was reading it and I was like, why the fuck did I give this 5 stars? And then I got to the ending and I was like, I remember, because I'm literally having a breakdown. This book, you don't really understand what's happening, and then you get to like the last 30 pages and you're like, oh my absolute fucking god. You know? Yeah. This is the sequel. Loved them both. What can I say? And I do have one more book to talk about. I'm too lazy to get up and get it right now, but that is The Lightning Thief, which is the first book in the Percy Jackson series by Rick Riordan. Also 5 stars for me. What can I say? And that I read like 2 years ago, most recently. So there you have it. Those are my 5-star books. Tell me your 5-star books. I want to know. Leave your Storygraph usernames. I want to follow you. Mine is in the description. Thank you for coming with me on this journey. I really appreciate it. Thank you for listening to me talk about my favorite books. This is something I'm super passionate about. I'm really glad I'm able to do this. Yeah, it's like 11 p.m. and I really want to go to bed. So, good night, guys. Thanks for watching. Later. This book is The Strange Just fucking hit myself in the face. I need to take a deep breath.